views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Sports with Rick and Jack. This is Jack, I'm Rick. How you doing, my brother?
Wonderful.
Your last week been good?
No.
No, what happened? Sports, family, what is it?
NFL.
NFL. And that relates to family problems? Hey, you know, NFL is a lot of people's lives right now, but we'll talk about that on our NFL show, right?
Yeah, it's just
briefly.
My picks last week were up in the air, and then it was just crazy and nuts. But on our NFL show, I'll give you a little bit more detail as far as like how I had a little redemption with my brother-in-law in picking Monday Night Football and the picks that we did. So
and fantasy football and all that
fantasy
stuff.
Football, 3 weeks. I'm on a 3-week winning streak.
Good for you.
Top of the division. So,
well, we'll talk a lot about football on our football show. Again, thanks for watching. Our audience continues to grow, and we want to thank you for being fans of what we do. As you know, we have a couple of shows here at WWDB-TV. We love them both. Our Let's Talk Football has been real popular. A lot of people are following it and making money with it, so yeah, that's been good. And our show, you know, Let's Talk Sports, this particular show, this week we're going to kind of accentuate the NBA draft, trades, what's going on, free agency. As you all know, the NBA starts again on December 22nd. Can you believe that? They're going to be ready? On the 22nd of December again?
Yeah.
Golden State's going to be ready. The Lakers
the
aren't.
Knicks should be ready.
Miami's not going to be ready. Milwaukee's not going to be ready.
No.
Anyways, we're going to talk a little bit NBA today. We're going to talk a little bit of college football and a little bit of Masters. So we're going to get this show started. Again, keep watching us, keep liking us, keep joining the network, subscribing. And we will talk a lot of football on our football show. Look for us with that also. But right now, I want to know what's your thoughts on the NBA draft coming up.
It's gonna be eye-opening to see like all this hype about Ball and should he be number one? Is he number one? And me personally, I don't think he's that good, but you know, maybe he'll prove me wrong. But when it comes to the dynamic, you know me, I'm all big on chemistry in the locker room. And when you draft him, you draft his father too. And you don't want that kind of stuff in your locker room.
Yeah.
As you can see, you know, he predicted that Lonzo will get a ring before LeBron and the Lakers did if they ever traded him, and we saw what happened. So. Hey.
Well, Lonzo's been a failure, and he's barely hanging on in the NBA. My question is this: take the father equation out of it. I think the father has matured a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's eating crow with Lonzo because Lonzo is not a good NBA player, and he is a failure. He is a bad project. But his brother looks to be a pretty good basketball player, and he says everything right. He said the most important thing to me is basketball. I'm a basketball player. I want to be great at basketball. I want to be the best. Do you think the father is going to stay out of it and allow this young man? And it appears to me that in looking at the draft stuff, I don't know who's going to get traded or what's going to happen. But if he goes third, he's going to go to Charlotte, which I think is a small market team with not a very good team and really tough. I'm really hoping that he doesn't go to Charlotte because I don't think that's the place for him. It's too small market. But I mean, you think the brother's going to? I think he's going to be a lot better than his brother. I really do.
I think well, you know, when he was so-called like men against or boys playing against men, when he was playing overseas,
yeah, in Australia,
you saw how he was actually outplaying the men. So maybe now the talent will catch up to the NBA players, or maybe that will give them enough play or enough experience to be successful. It's not a matter of the market that I am worried about him. It's a matter of the coach. You know, when the culture in the locker room that's set with the coach, that's what I think is going to make him flourish. Otherwise, I think he's just going to be another hype player coming in.
Yeah, and you know, leadership is important. When you get on a team with a guy like a Chris Paul. He's gonna hold you accountable, and he's gonna make you better, like he did all those guys. You know, in Oklahoma, they played better than anybody thought in the playoffs.
Oh,
because
we thought it was a rebuilding year.
Yeah, and Chris Paul got those guys, you know, and they, Jeremy Grant and, you know, Schroeder and those guys, they all followed him. And I just think that, you know, the young, you know, mellow ball there has got to get the good leadership, not listen to his father so much. I really think the father's backed off. You know, he's done selling his $500 tennis shoes and all that stuff he was doing, you know, Mr. Marketing and Mr. Mouth. But hopefully he's out of it and he's going to let his kids play ball. I don't know how much of a future Lonzo has left, but his brother is going to be a high draft, 1, 2, or 3. We know that for sure. He's not going to be lower than that. He's going to make a lot of money to start. He's already got some, you know, people, advertisers after him, and we'll see what happens. But overall, you think it's a good NBA draft this year? You think there's some value there? Or what's the Golden State Warriors going to do? Rebuild, or what are they going to do?
There's no rebuilding right now. I think they have all the pieces that they need to contend. It's a matter of how long how long do they want to contend? You get an experienced player in right now. They traded what is it, is it number 3?
They have the number 2 pick.
The number 2 pick. So they have the number 2 pick. I would suggest, me personally, I say keep that player, develop that player, because at that number 2 spot, number 2 pick, you're picking someone with talent. So why not continue your reign with, you know, because now you don't have to put as much pressure on the Splash Brothers, because now you have more pieces to rotate in and out, and still have your future. Whereas you bring older guys in. You want to contend for a championship this year, but then in a few years you'll start rebuild again. Whereas you had the number 2 pick to continue that momentum and basically have quality players for the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, and you make a good point about, you know, building some things around Clay and that team. The thing about it is I'm not sure that they've been getting a lot of injuries, Golden State. I think they had their run. I really think their run is over. I think that Curry is going to continue to get hurt. I think that, you know, Clay's had one bad injury. Hopefully he does great. But, you know, I don't know about that team. I really don't. They brought in Wiggins. He's kind of been a head case. But, you know, I almost think they should trade it and bring in some talent and have a year this year, because I don't think they have a lot left. That's just my personal opinion. I believe they had their run. The whole thing to me is this. All these trades that are going on, all this free agency, you know, Chris Paul getting traded to Phoenix, which is going to help that team. That's
going to be good for them.
Yeah, that's going to be good for them. But how good is it going to be? What I mean to ask you is everybody chasing the Lakers? Or are the Lakers out there by themselves? And if the Lakers, I think they can stay healthy. They work hard. So if the Lakers stay healthy, is everybody chasing them? Or is there somebody out there that can beat the Lakers when the Lakers are at their best? Is there somebody that can beat the Lakers?
Yes.
In 2021?
Yes.
Who? Who is it? Boston? They bring in some players. They're getting rid of Hayward. They want Hayward to leave. He doesn't know if he's going to leave. What are you going to do in Boston? You got to bring a big man in, right? Miami, they need another big man.
But you also need you need that the problem with Boston is Boston does not have whose team is it. As much as they're playing team ball, and they're playing it better than anybody else, they don't have a guy that you're going to say, we're down 6. The ball is yours. Facilitate.
Tatum's not that leader?
No, not yet.
Brown's not that leader?
Tatum is actually the best player on the team, but he's not that driver.
Yeah.
Which you need that one person that's saying this is my team, whereas it's a team's team when they play, but you still need that leader that's driving.
Their leader's been Marcus Smart, and guess what? They got rid of him.
Yeah.
He's no longer with Boston because they thought he was a head case. But he was a leader, but he made a lot of mistakes out there.
It comes down to they need somebody that's going to that's going to hold them accountable, other than the coach. Because when you're held accountable, you don't want to disappoint, so you play your best at all times.
Like LeBron does. You know that you're held accountable when you play for the Lakers. How many times have you seen those guys coming off the court after a bad play by Kuzma and LeBron in his face? He'll get in Anthony Davis's face. That's what's amazing. I've seen LeBron and Anthony Davis argue on the floor over a mistake that has been made.
Yes, because they're holding each other accountable, which
And
you
that's
should.
what they said. They hold each other accountable. So I'm asking you once again, who can is Milwaukee's not ready to contend? Giannis, I mean, yeah, great player, gets MVP, which LeBron should have got it. But the thing about it is I mean, does he hold that team accountable? Milton, I mean, he disappears. Supposed to be, NBA All-Star. He disappears.
Again,
Who's Milwaukee really got?
but I think it's the same. It's in the same city. I think for some reason maybe this year the culture is going to change with the Clippers, and they'll actually do better, learning from the mistakes. Maybe, hopefully, they'll come back and say we did X, Y, and Z wrong, and we're going to work on it. And maybe Kawhi could be a more vocal leader other than just playing. You need another guy again. But I think talent-wise and depth, they're very good.
Well, yeah, the Clippers are very good. I mean, last year when the season started, I predicted the Clippers to win it all. They went into the bubble, and I said they would win it in the bubble. And they were a bunch of head cases. They couldn't get along in the locker room. Doc Rivers lost the locker room. That's why he's not there anymore. The culture changed, and they were embarrassing in the end. Oh, they have the talent to beat the Lakers, but they don't have the leadership. Where's the leadership? Paul George is not a leader. Hey, Kawhi is not a leader. They're great basketball players.
But it's hard for them to lead when the guys need you most. Tonight you're load managing. That takes a toll on.
Don't even start with this load management word. Those two words, I hate them.
I know.
Whatever happened to playing every night? 40 minutes. You get 8 minutes off. Out of the 48, you're playing 40 every night. What happened to it?
The team that
the basketball is not that heavy. That basketball is not that heavy.
But they are, and it takes a toll on their joints.
Come on, they're young men.
The thing is, the team that perfect the quote unquote load management was Popovich
San Antonio
and the Spurs, but they didn't call it load management. What they did was they basically gave their players scheduled time off, and this was to ensure that they were healthy moving forward. Or if they had just have something lingering, give them a couple of days off. But I don't hate it, because what you do is you have $1 million investment on these players. So an injured player, this can cost you from fans coming to. It costs the team money to have you on the bench.
So how often in all those minutes they played did Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal get hurt? Not often.
They did get hurt, though.
Hey, how many years did those guys play? And they played a lot of basketball, and they won a lot of championships, and they were right there for the title. How about all those guys in Boston, the Larry Birds, the McHales? Hey,
Larry Bird was injury prone. That's why injury put him out the league. He played hard too.
It's overdone, in my opinion. Let's play basketball. I mean, you get paid millions of dollars. The basketball is very light. It's not that hard to dribble it and shoot it and run up and down the court a few times. You're a 20-something-year-old man. Hey, in my 50s, still running up and down the basketball floor. Old man. Guess what? It starts right here. It starts right here. They're babied in the NBA. I love watching the NBA because it's the most talented game out there. Most talented by far. So much talent. But they're all babied. Let's play basketball. Let's go back to knocking guys down and having a few fights. And not being suspended for 5 games. And
fights
you push a guy, you slap him, and you're suspended for 2 weeks. I mean, come on, let's get back to the old days where they knocked each other down, and it was Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal rolling on the floor punching each other. That was real basketball. That's why I like the Lakers. They're a tough, hard team. Boston isn't a tough, hard team. They're a bunch of sissies, man. Milwaukee's a bunch of sissies. No, I love the NBA. I watch it more than anybody. And that's where I make my most money, is betting on NBA. But I will tell you this. I think the NBA is a bunch of sissies. Not enough tough guys. They're all chasing the Lakers. I mean, is Brooklyn going to have a great team? Kyrie Irving's out more than he plays.
Yeah.
Durant, this last year he had a durability issue, but he was pretty good before that. I mean, so many guys are hurt in the NBA. It's like, let's play basketball, man. And we're going to start. We're going to start December 22nd. It'll be fun. We'll talk a lot more next week because we're going to see what happens with this free agency and trades and the draft. So this is just kind of prelim to our show. We just want to give you a little bit of input of what we thought about what's going on in the NBA and the players. And, the changes that are going to be made. There's already some been made. Like I said, Chris Paul went to Phoenix, which is going to help that team a lot. I think that team continues to improve, and they got some good players. Booker's a great player. He really is a great player, and having Chris Paul there is going to take some.
That's good leadership and
And it's going to take some heat off of him because he
yeah.
always controlled the ball. And they also have that kid at center, Aiden from Arizona, great player, great center. So and then we got New Orleans, and Zion playing a full year hopefully. And NBA is going to be fun, but we'll talk about it more and more over the next week, the next couple weeks leading up to the season. But we just kind of wanted to give you a little taste of what's going on. We're going to take a break now, come back and talk about some other sports, and stay tuned. Thank you.
Bob Allen Golf has a full tour shop for all of your repairs, including re-gripping, reshafting, loft and lie adjustments, whatever you need. Bob has the only full swing simulator in Las Vegas. Get your next set of golf clubs custom fit right here at Bob Allen Golf, located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas, 89148. With Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
Hello, welcome back. As you know, we just finished our NBA session, which was fun.
Yeah.
It was rather heated because we have
Get off my lawn over here.
we have specific opinions on the NBA. I love the NBA. I love betting on it. I love the players, but I just don't think they play enough. And too much time off. Anyways, we're going to move on. Again, got a lot to talk about next week after we really know the results of what happened in the draft tonight and what happens.
All those moves that they're going to make
and
tonight.
The trades, and so that'll be fun. But let's move over to college football. As you know, COVID killed us last week. Over a dozen games canceled. 3 of the top 6 teams didn't play. Now this week it's been a little better, but again, Texas A&M, a team that was on a roll, isn't playing again, and they were playing good football, number 6. What are you seeing in college football? I mean, are you bored with it, or is there anything that you like about it right now? Tell me about your college football experiences right now.
My thing is I'm a little bit frustrated with the way they're ranking these teams, and I understand strength of schedule, but what's strength of schedule right now? Where you have
it's almost impossible.
Like a BYU right now is 8-0, and they're not even in they're not in the top 5.
Do you think they believe? Do you believe they?
I don't know, but they're winning the games that they're supposed to.
Can you mention a top team that they beat? Can you think of anybody that they beat that's any good? BYU. I can't.
I say Boise.
Okay, they're 8-0. Boise State, come on, man. Boise State. They didn't have their quarterback. Boise State quarterback just came back last week.
So
they had a second stringer in there.
So would it have made a difference? You have
Boise State is not a top tier team.
They're winning the games that they're supposed to win. A number 8 team.
Against Colorado State, UNLV, Hawaii.
So what?
Who's Boise State beating? Who's BYU beating?
They're beating teams that they're supposed to beat. That's the conference they're aligned in. So guess what? The reason why I'm frustrated is the damn playoff system with only being able to put 4 teams in it is ridiculous. You have all these conferences. All these conferences. They should just have have all these conferences send a team to the playoffs. That's it. So then you're gonna say, is it unfair to have like some conferences not being able to send more than 1 or 2 teams? Then expand it to 16 teams.
You seen anybody good in the Pac-12 yet?
I like.
That deserves to be in the top 8. Would you say Oregon deserves it?
Why not? They beat who they're supposed to beat. They beat Stanford and first week.
Stanford and Washington State. Come on.
So what? They're beating teams that they're supposed to beat.
Those are weak teams. So you should send USC because they're 2-0, who won 2 games on the last drive against both weak Arizona schools. SC's number 20. They do not deserve to be number 20. Oregon is not. Hey, I love their coach. I think Oregon is a great team for the Pac-12. I believe if they got into the playoffs, the top 8, that they'd get their asses kicked. Excuse my language. But that's how I feel about it. The fact remains, there's about 6 really good teams. I still believe Notre Dame is number 1. Ohio State is playing good football, and they're going to prove it this week.
Which they're in the number 3 position.
They're in the number 3 position. But you know, I'm going to skip Alabama for a minute because I want to talk about Ohio State and Notre Dame. I think they're the two best teams in the country, and I think they're going to prove it. Ohio State plays a supposedly good Indiana team that's going to be inspired this week because the coach's son, who was a star linebacker, got hurt and is out for the year, so they're going to be inspired to play hard against Ohio State. They won't be within 21 points. It'll be 21 or more. Ohio State will beat them. If you look at the Big Ten, there's nobody there besides Ohio State. There's no other teams that deserve to go to a playoff game. Who's any good in that conference? Northwestern?
No.
Ranked. Indiana, ranked. Ohio State, yeah. Alabama, great every year. That school amazes me with their running backs. Every pro game I watch is an Alabama running back. The kid the other night for New England, third string running back at Alabama, what did he get, 126 yards? I mean,
yeah,
the kid was fantastic. The kid with the Raiders. I mean, Alabama is a factory for running backs, and they're going to be there. Clemson, Trevor Lawrence is back this week. I think Clemson is those are the top 4 teams by far. I think Florida, that kid,
they're playing very good.
Trask,
they're playing very good.
He could win the Heisman Trophy. People overlook that quarterback in Florida. He's good. Florida's playing good football. Texas A&M's playing good football. Cincinnati, again, playing good football, but can they play with the big boys? So I look at college football, and I'm bored because there's really only a few good teams.
So then how is Texas A&M missing the last 2 weeks, missed last week, and they're going to miss this week again? So then how are they in the top 10? It's terrible.
Well, they've played pretty well.
Yeah, but
they've played good football against good football teams. Again, when you're playing SEC teams and the top ACC teams, I mean, it's a different kind of football than coming over here and playing in the Mountain West and playing, you know, in the Pac-12. These aren't good football teams. All the good football is played out there in the SEC. And look at LSU getting their butts beat. They beat most of the teams in the Pac-10. But, you know, I'm kind of, I love to watch college football. It's a great game.
I think
it's very human. It's not much different than the pros. They make mistakes in college, and it's fun to watch those games. But
and you understand,
I don't see anybody
most
playing
coaches,
with the big boys.
Most coaches in college, they only have 4 years with any player to
and
actually
if you're
mold
good, they
them.
only got 3.
Yes, exactly. So, but I want it to be set up more like a tournament set up, like
I like that.
March Madness. Like, you know, let's have something similar where you have more teams. It's not necessarily watered it down, but what it does is it gives you that Cinderella story where like Oregon can come in and have, you know, four good games, or, you know, it's okay. This can make the difference between some of these prospects, you know, showing out in these games, but we're not giving them a chance.
No, and COVID is hurting it a lot in college. The thing about it is if you look at the games this week, I mean, there isn't really a great game on the schedule. Would that be Oregon and UCLA? No. Would that be Ohio State, Indiana? No. Would that be USC, Utah? No. Where's the really good game? Tennessee, Auburn? Come on. Nothing there. I love to watch. If you haven't watched them yet, and Florida plays Vanderbilt, watch Florida. They're a sleeper to get in that Final Four. That's a good football team. I really like them, and they're gaining confidence, and they're really well coached by Dan Mullen. So if I would say anything that I love watching of all these teams, what are we going to watch? Arizona, Washington? Come on. Well, what do we got this week? BYU, North Alabama, another Patsy BYU plays to go to 9-0. Come on. There's nothing there. USC, Utah is probably going to be the best game, and Utah is going to beat them. So take Utah in the 2 points, folks. I'm telling you. USC is really faltering. They're lucky they won 2 games. Very lucky. I watched them both because I've been a USC fan my whole life, and it hurts me to say that I think Utah is going to beat them this week. Take the 3 points in Utah. That's my college pick of the week. And watch Florida. Ohio State, Indiana might be good for about a half, but we want to see more action. I want to see more big games like in the NFL. 3 or 4 great games every week. 3 or 4 good matchups for sure. We're not getting that in this college because, again, teams aren't playing. COVID is coming up. You know, it hurt Clemson. Clemson got hurt by it with Lawrence out against Notre Dame. And we won't know until the championship, the AC championship, who really is the better team if Lawrence stays healthy and Book stays healthy at Notre Dame. I mean, that kid's a good quarterback too, man. That Notre Dame quarterback, he is real good. So again, I still think Notre Dame's a top team in the country, and I think Alabama and Ohio State are right there, and Clemson. It's really pick one of them.
Yeah,
I'll pick Notre Dame.
Well, the top four.
Until Notre Dame gets beat, to me they're the best team in the country.
Well, the top four, they're kind of set. They're playing they're playing how they're supposed to be ranked in that top four. My problem is that you have so many other teams that's doing the exact same thing, despite their conference. They're winning. So why are they not included? Make it 8, make it 12. Whatever the case is.
And I get your point about the tournament.
Let's root for Cinderella. You know, it'd be good to see a BYU come in and show you what they can do.
It'll never happen.
But we won't know because they're not in the top
You know
line.
what?
So
to tell you the truth, I don't want to watch BYU play Clemson or Alabama.
I
know
do.
why? Because they'll lose by 50 points.
No, they won't.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I hope they get to play each other. I hope they get smart this year and maybe open it up a little bit, and maybe we get 8. But as far as I'm concerned, there's four teams that are far better than everybody else, and there's a few that are close. Florida looks pretty good. I like what they're doing. Texas A&M looks good. Again, beyond those top 6, who's really any good? BYU, USC, who's in there?
Well, USC with only 2 wins,
Ole
or
Miss?
two
Who's
games
in
in.
Who's in there?
You can't really count them in right now.
Cincinnati. Look at your top 10 and say who can beat from 5 down to 20. Who could beat those top 4 teams?
In the circumstances
Not one of them.
In our circumstances right now, you never know.
Okay. Well, we'll continue to watch, and we'll have more fodder for more conversation. Let's watch the games this week. Hope that there's some good games. Hope that things clear up, but it's not going to clear up much because nobody plays anybody. But in the weeks to come, as we get closer to some playoffs, it'll be more fun to talk about it. And, you know, somebody can prove me wrong about Notre Dame. I'm waiting. Anyways, college football, enjoy it. Enjoy it this weekend. I know you have some bets. I really like that Utah getting 3 at home against SC. I don't like to bet against SC, but again, I'm a gambler. So only a few coins. But let's finish up with the Masters. Dustin Johnson, man.
Surprised.
What a beast.
I was actually surprised because I thought, because of his COVID test and all that, I thought, he wasn't even supposed to be in there. And then all of a sudden, here we are. He's showing why he's the #1 ranked in the nation. So
in the world.
In the world.
Yeah, he took that tournament. I mean, I looked at, we like DeChambeau, but he couldn't control the ball. He was hitting it everywhere, hitting it long, but it's not near the hole. He had a rough tournament, and a lot of guys played well. Tiger played well early and fell apart on Sunday and had on a 10 on a par 3 or par 4, whatever it was. He hit the ball in the lake 3 times. But it was fun to watch the Masters. To me, again, it came down to the same thing. We talked about this. It got dark and they had to play into the next day. They didn't finish their holes the first 2 days. They had to play double. They had to finish up from the day before and then play for that day. And it got dark early and there was no crowd. And
we spoke about the mental aspect of it. Who can overcome
and it
that?
affected a lot of those guys, the mental aspect. So we were right on that, I'm telling you. It's the guys in any sport right now. NFL, you watch these guys playing in empty stadiums. It's the guys that can control the mental part of the game and continue to use their physicality to win games that excel. And Johnson really excelled. His mind was on it. And there's a few other guys that played very well. But, to go minus 20, he pretty much dominated the field.
He did.
From start to finish. And he had a great tournament. That was fun, but I didn't enjoy it so much because the roar of the crowd I missed. And I'm playing it that late, having to quit and guys in the middle of the tournament and having to play more holes the next day and starting at 5 in the morning. That just didn't get it for me.
Well, we discussed it. We already thought of all that stuff that was supposed to happen, and guess what? All those things happen, and now we are.
You mean once in a while we know what we're talking about?
Sometimes we don't know jack, but this time we
Hey,
did.
today you told me I don't know jack about NBA and Golden State Warriors and college football, so I'm, at least I got 1 out of 3 right this week. But anyways, we enjoy this. It's very enjoyable that we have to sit down and talk about it and give you our opinions and talk about the things that we like and don't like and what's going on. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff in the NBA coming up. College football is going to heat up. And there's going to be, some more UFC and boxing matches and racing and all kinds of stuff going on. Horse racing is a little slow right now, but we're going to concentrate a lot on college football and NBA here in the next week. And thanks for being on the show today. Thanks for your very astute prognostication and your ability to tell me, I don't know, Jack, or what the hell I'm talking about. But we'll see what goes on.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll talk about what I really know on our NFL show. So we'll get to that. Stay tuned. We're going to do some more shows. Watch our football show. Continue to like this show. A lot of followers last week. We really, really, really appreciate you. Continue to follow the show, comment, share it, like it. Join here at WWBTV. We thank you for watching. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.